This is TradeFlow News, bringing you relevant news and insights from around the world. TradeFlow News, enabling trade for SMEs and economies worldwide.
These are some of the key topics that we will be looking into in today's program.
First, let's take a look at the overnight headlines which are impacting the commodity markets.
India is likely to buy more Malaysian palm oil after export levies imposed by top producer Indonesia hit record highs in the past year. B.V. Mehta, executive director of India's Solvent Extractors Association, said on Thursday. Indonesia had imposed higher export taxes and levies in the past year, making prices of palm oil, which had already reached record highs this year, more costly for the top buyer. Indonesia's share of palm oil imports by India earlier was nearly 70 to 75%, Mehta told the annual Indonesian Palm Oil Conference.
OPEC and its allies agreed on Thursday to stick to their existing policy of monthly oil output increases despite fears that a U.S. release from crude reserves and the new coronavirus variant would lead to a new oil price rout. Brent fell more than $1 after the deal was reported, trading below $70 a barrel, well off October's three-year highs above $86. Prices in November had already registered the biggest monthly decline since the start of the pandemic. Under its existing pact, OPEC Plus agreed to raise output by 400,000 barrels of oil per day each month, winding down record cuts agreed in 2020 when demand crashed because of the pandemic.
Moving on to the top news in the energy sector.
Some European Union countries including France and Spain stepped up calls to reform the bloc's energy market rules to cope with high prices, a stance challenged by a rival group of states including Germany, as energy ministers met on Thursday. European energy prices surged to record highs in autumn as tight gas supplies collided with high demand in economies recovering from the COVID-19 pandemic. While gas prices have retreated from record highs in October, they remain relatively high.
Brazil's powerful biofuel and farm lobbies are pushing the government to reverse a measure announced this week that maintained the minimum biofuel content level in diesel at 10% for all of 2022. Lawmakers of the Biodiesel Caucus will act as soon as the president learns of the repercussions of the measure, and he will certainly change his stance, Francisco Turra, board chairman of the Aprobio Biofuels lobby, told Reuters in an interview on Wednesday. A 10% mix represents a drop from the 13% requirement initially planned for 2021, and an even sharper fall from the 14% that was supposed to be adopted from March 2022, Turra said. Next, we have the top news in metal markets. Automakers must work closer with lithium producers to guarantee supply of specialized types of the white metal that boost an electric vehicle's range and performance, Albemarle Corp and Livent Corp executives told the Reuters Next conference on Wednesday. As EVs go mainstream, automakers are planning models that can run longer before recharging and handle different weather conditions. Batteries for such EVs typically are made with a type of lithium known as hydroxide that cannot be stored for long periods of time and thus must be made in custom batches. As such, producing it requires extensive investment and planning, which lithium producers are hesitant to do even as prices rise unless automakers sign long-term contracts and share development plans.
Copper prices edged lower on Thursday as fears over the spread of the Omicron coronavirus variant and slowing economic growth in China weakened the outlook for demand. Global stock markets fell after the United States and France reported their first Omicron cases and countries around the world tightened travel restrictions. Benchmark copper on the London Metal Exchange (LME) was down 0.3% at $9,420 a ton in official trading and down about 4% from a week ago. However, prices are still up about 20% this year and near a record high of $10,747.50 reached in May.
We will now look at the top news in the agricultural sector.
World food prices rose for a fourth straight month in November to remain at 10-year highs, led by strong demand for wheat and dairy products, the UN Food Agency said on Thursday. The Food and Agriculture Organization's FAO Food Price Index, which tracks international prices of the most globally traded food commodities, averaged 134.4 points last month compared with a revised 132.8 for October. The October figure was previously given as 133.2. The November reading was the highest for the index since June 2011. On a year-on-year basis, the index was up 27.3% last month.
That is all for today's news on commodity markets. Stay tuned to TradeFlow News as we continue to provide you with more updates. We also invite you to follow us on Twitter at TradeFlow News, which allows you to watch our program on your mobile device or desktop to receive information from there.